And okay, kia ora everybody. Thank you so much. I'll call upon Sunny to start things off with a karakia, please.
E te atu e tūwhera ana ngā katoa koe, e mohi o te ana ngā hia katoa, e kore hoke e ngau ia koe te mehuna. Whakahange e hoto wairua tapu, hei whakamai ngā whakaaro o mātou ngā koe. Ke tino aroha ai mātou ki koe, ki tuka e te whakanui e tō ingoa e tapu. E kura tino i hoki te mātou ari ki āmane. E te atua, ānei o tamariki, e inui atu nei ki a koe. Hei āwhina, hei tohu i o mātou mahi katoa. Heavenly Father, here are your children, praying to you for guidance and assistance in everything we do, so that all is made right in your eyes. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Right. Any apologies? I think we're all here. Okay, so we'll move right along to the next item. Just confirmation of the agenda. And I'm happy to move that the committee confirms the agenda. I have a seconder. Ash.
Thank you.
All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, nay, carried. So we'll move on to just some words I need to read out as regarding conflict of interest. The committee members are reminded of the need to be vigilant to stand aside from decision-making when a conflict arises between their role as committee members and any private or other interest they might have. So does anybody have any conflicts to repair? Declare?
No.
Okay, done. Bearing in mind that it's election season. But, no. Okay, thank you. So the first substantial item we have to consider is the minutes of the last meeting held on the 27th of May. So is there someone prepared to move that those?
Yeah, I can
Happy to move. Second.
I got Peter first and Ash second.
Thank you.
As mover and seconder. I don't think we have any need to discuss those minutes. All we're talking about is the accuracy of the record.
would like to have a statement if you indulge me.
Oh, yeah, okay. So are you concerned about the accuracy of the wording of the minutes, or?
Just the substance of the decision-making at that meeting.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll be interested to hear it.
Yeah, I just wanted to basically say that I'm very disappointed that time and time again the decision making at this table in this committee is overruled when it comes to important decisions. I thought that we had a good pathway in the minutes that we had all arrived at that would have got us to the point where we needed to get to. And then unfortunately, the governing body has undone the decision-making, and we're really no better off right now because we still haven't put together the
Solution.
The solution. Yeah, so now it's just in limbo, and it appears that all of the responsibility is now on NRC to wait for that CAN notice. When in my mind, what was discussed around the table was that a committee would be stood up and we would start driving a solution.
Or a working group sort of thing.
Yeah, sorry, working committee, and that was coming up. That'll be coming up to a month now, and nothing's happened. So, yeah, I just wanted to put that on the table. Very disappointing, and it makes me wonder why we are even here around the table today if our decisions don't mean much. Thank you.
Yep, well, yeah.
But we have actually had the working group as in this meeting.
Well, we have made it so clear that we want to be a part of that. So why are we not sent any meeting invitations for it?
Both Rick and Sunny were at the operations meeting just prior to that.
Because they've always been part of that, they have always been part of that operations meeting.
The operations, yeah.
Yeah, through Te Taharoa and through Te Kuhi, that's how come, but, we haven't at the governing, because we've taken on responsibility for the outcomes that come out of that working group, because it's part and parcel of this,
I think the idea was that it's like stakeholders would be around the table. So, but whether that would formally meant the committee, it's another question, I guess. Okay, but thank you for that, Glynis.
Maybe extended invitations then, if that's.
I'll certainly go back to the organiser of that and put that forward.
Well, we're the organiser because we were the ones that decided on it to be the part of the solution going forward.
Except that got gazumped with the council decision. Yeah, so, however, I have had a couple of comments to make too, Peter, since you've opened the door.
You didn't second it, it was as part of my statement as the.
Oh, okay, fine.
So shall we go to Ash and?
Well, this is, so if we could stay in the frame of
No.
the minutes.
Shares the seconder and then we'll have proper statements from,
Okay.
to follow proper process.
Can do that. I mean, we're sort of leaning out one way over the.
Follow the process. Yes.
As seconder of the motion, Ash, that we confirm the minutes of the extraordinary meeting held on the 27th of May.
Yeah,
Do you
well,
have any statement to make?
well, since we have started making statements, all I can say is regardless of how many good wishes and good intentions we have, we are ruled over by the majority because it goes to the council meeting. So that's the process we have been following, and this is not the first thing. I mean, it has happened in many meetings over the years, 2.5 years. So I've nothing more to say except that the rule of majority prevails. So if we don't want to have a meeting, I'm happy with that. If we want to wait till the can notice, I'm more happy with that, because I think NRC has to bell the cat. And I mean, we are just suffering because of inadequacy of the system, which is NRC. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Rachel, you had your hand up. Did you want to speak as well after Rachel? It's Rachel.
You're on mute, Councillor Williams.
Hi, am I able to ask a question?
Well, we didn't have that stage, but why not? We're travelling loose at the moment, so.
Just to Pera's point, I did ask the question about our governance committee being at that hui that was held on the 9th of July, just so that we're in the loop, because I note that it's only Kaipara District Council staff that attend, iwi partners and community stakeholders, also NRC and DOC. Further to that, I just thought that perhaps even if the chair was at those meetings, just so that we're a bit tighter on what's actually going on, because we don't get the hui reported back to us and what's happened or anything. So we're kind of flying blind as a governance body who's responsible, but we don't have any feedback from staff on that.
No. Yep, fair enough. Now, Rick.
Mr. Chair, the point I'd like to make is that we discuss, as a governance committee, we make recommendations,
Yes.
us to the council,
Yep.
but more often than not, they're either ignored or just
Countermanded or whatever.
Yeah.
Overruled.
It's happened for a long time.
Yes, it has, which I guess leads me to my comments too. One is that as far as that agenda was concerned, we didn't really have something just to say yes or no to. It needed, like normally with a council agenda, there is a workshop that precedes it or a briefing session which enables the staff to present and elected members to examine the issues and then work through preferences. And the makeup of this committee doesn't allow for that to happen. So we had to have that sort of session first. And I think that worked actually quite well. And the only other comment I'd make is that if at least I had a seconder for my amendment to the motion at the meeting, even though it failed, at least the minutes of the meeting will show what the recommendation of the committee was for the record. And if that hadn't happened, there would have been no record in the council minutes of the recommendation of the committee, even though the purpose of the agenda item was to deal with the recommendation of the committee. So, which I find rather sad. While you're out of the room, Peter, Rachel asked a question that it was largely like operational staff regarding this working group, whatever it is, but and wondered whether maybe someone, at least the chair of this committee, were to be represented at the.
Yeah, I'd like to go along too. It's just
Yes, so
the way that the report was set out was not even endorsing the decision of this committee. It endorsed a completely different decision.
provided that option, but yeah.
So
Yeah, I think
just wonder what pathway they're leading the operational team down, the committee down, if they're not really endorsing this committee.
Well,
Yeah.
at least we've all got that out on the table, but we're actually just considering the validity of the minutes. So I'll now put the motion that the Taharoa Governance Committee confirms the minutes of the extraordinary meeting held on 27th of May as a true and accurate record. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Okay, so we're now on to the item 3, the operations report, and I will ask for, is it Glynis to step forward and present the report? Yes,
Good morning, everyone. I take it through the chair that the report has been read, but I thought I would just give a high-level overview of what's covered in the report this morning.
Yes, please.
The report covered the Kaiwi Lakes Taharoa Domain Reserve Management Plan of 2016. In the report, I talk about that it is a living document and it remains under constant review. There's no specified end date that triggers a formal process to review the reserve management plan. I've attached the reserve management plan, the action list, as part of this report. And this is the place for the committee to steer KDC domain team. You can add items, we can review items, we can amend items. And depending on the type of change, if it's a minor change, that item can be added directly into that action list. If it's a major change and it's contrary to the reserve management plan, then that will require community consultation. So in past reports, we've included it, but it hasn't been a focus of discussion. But certainly this is the avenue for the committee to make the most influence in terms of the operation at the Taharoa domain. And so you'd see that on page 14 of your report. With regards to an update at Taharoa domain, bollards have been installed across the area to restrict unauthorised vehicles accessing the beach and track. And we've been monitoring that, and that seems to be working very well at the moment. The Taharoa domain officers are currently working from a work schedule. That was attachment E. In June and July, they've been working on track maintenance, pest weed spraying, drain clearing, filling of potholes around the campground. They've been checking the signage and looking where replacement of signage is needed. And they've been making sure that, as I said, that those bollards are working as intended. There's no events planned for the next quarter at the lakes. We did have one very successful event in April 2025, and that was a triathlon. They've done many events out at the lakes and continue to work with the organisers, and they will be planning future events. The Lake Waikari Education Centre had 14 bookings during the quarter. With regards to Kaiwi Lakes, we had very strong booking over the summer period that's just gone, and it's remained quite steady compared to previous years, even though we've had a lot of interruptions with very poor weather. And when the bookings opened on July 1, so far it looks like the bookings for the 25-26 season are very strong. Both campsites, there's strong interest and nearly full bookings over that peak area. With regards to compliance for the campground, we have for a long period not been meeting the campground regulations. A new build is required, and we're rectifying that with the ablution blocks that will be going in and the toilet blocks. And at Promenade Point, what we do to alleviate stress there is that we put portaloos in during summer. We're also required to have hot water. We have been given the ability not to do that from the discretion of KDC's EHO. With regards to NRC compliance, we're meeting our resource consent with regards to water take and with regards to wastewater discharge. And we're meeting our air quality standards with regards to the dump station. I've included in the body of the report some information about our finances. So with regards to the campground, we've had a steady increase in campground revenue, and that's very much a reflection of our very strong interest in the number of campers that we've had over the summer period. Our total operating costs are lower in 2025 year to date compared to that of 2024. So this year to date, to the period that the financial statement was looking at, we're at $312,000 compared to $394,000 for a comparable year last year. And our operating gross profit is $415,000 compared to $336,000 in 2024. With regards to the Taharoa domain finances, obviously the Taharoa domain is a high cost operation with no revenue offset, unlike the campground. And operating costs have remained constant over time. Employee costs and ground maintenance are the main costs associated with the running of the Taharoa domain. There's been an increase in management services, which does reflect a strategic investment in iwi partnerships. And this has grown quite considerably from 23,000 in 2024 to 85,000 in 2025. We've included as one of the agenda items our risk register. And if I look at the main areas of risk and what we are doing about it, we have managing the ablution blocks. That's one of our main risk areas. So what we do there is we're very vigilant in the monitoring and making sure that they are a suitable place for people to use, they're a safe environment for people to use, but they're also being managed effectively from an environmental point of view. Personal injury, so people that are visiting the Kaiwi Lakes and the domain, to make sure that they're as safe as we can make them. And so there we're making sure that our tracks are well maintained and that the area is, people are able to move, so we manage things such as traffic and ongoing biosecurity threats, and I'll talk about that in a few moments. So our risk register, again, is a living document. It's reviewed for currency and to ensure that that the controls are working as intended. Then with regards to general business, we have already spoken about the outcome of the council meeting on the 26th of June, where the elected members voted to keep the boat ramp open based on the advice from council's legal team, to support NRC in seeking a can, and to support the education and alternative preventative controls to keep gold clam from infesting the lakes. The gold clam working group did meet on the 9th of July, NRC, KDC DOC, community stakeholders and iwi representatives were a part of that meeting. And we listened and heard and discussed strategies to improve the wash, dry and check process. We had a member of the public who came and spoke about using hot water as opposed to cold water, and we talked about the efficacy of doing that. There was also an operational meeting on the 9th of July between NRC DOC, KDC and iwi representatives. Again, there was a good discussion. There was a focus around pest plant eradication and then maintenance, and also a pest animal plan. And NRC are looking at possibly getting the permission to close the Taharoa domain, potentially for 2 days, to do a cull of wild pigs that have been spotted in the area. So we will work closely with NRC to support that to happen. Apparently, kiwi have been sighted now on at least 2 occasions out at the Taharoa domain. One of the campground people last year, somebody that was camping, was convinced that they saw a kiwi, and then also an NRC ranger also saw sightings that led them to believe that there was kiwi. And we are currently preparing for what we expect to occur a little bit later in spring, but there is an expectation that a highly pathogenic avian flu may in fact reach our shores. So one of the things that we are doing is developing an operational plan for how we will manage that, to make sure that members of the public who are accessing the domain are kept safe if they come across a poorly bird or a bird that is deceased, our domain staff who may have to pick that bird up, and also our contractors who may have to dispose of that bird. So we're working on plans with regards to that. So that was a very much an overview of the entire report.
Okay. I have a couple of questions, but I'll see anyone else wants to ask questions first. So Peter, you're first out of the blocks.
Sorry, I've just really got
And
to
Ash.
go back and clarify. So are you telling me that the normal Taharoa domain operations hui that was held on the 9th of July is also now the stand-in subcommittee specifically tasked with the motion that was passed at the council?
That is a committee group, that's right.
I just don't think that that's acceptable. They need to be separate. There's this very specific issue that needs to be dealt with over and above the general operations that is always conducted. There's so many agenda items that need to be in that operational hui. And then there's a very specific workload and decision-making, and they're not actually the same thing. There's different stakeholders for the two differing things.
And so the
my concern is that it's now just like, well, here's another issue for the operations to deal with, but we're driving. We have a timeline that's so short between now and our summer season that it requires so much focus and resources on that to get something in place where it's not just overshadowed by the entire operations hui that should be. Oh.
Okay, so just put that into a question so you can answer.
Question is, who made the decision to just put it into the standard operations hui, the motion that the council passed? Who made that decision?
NRC.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, just.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
No, it's just, I've got a comment to make, but this is question time. So, Rick.
I think
Sorry, I did actually promise Councillor Naya first. If you just turn your sound on, Ash.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak. I have a few questions, but I will just go one by one. Thank you. First of all, Glennis, thank you for that, and very encouraging to see that Ivy Lake is getting more and more steady, profitable. My questions are obviously related to operations, and whilst we are making more than 750,000 profit revenue, the repair and maintenance bill is increasing which means we are lacking in somewhere, or what's happening with that? That's the first question. If you look at the R&M under page 2, it's going very high. So I would like to know why it's going high. Does it need replacement of pipes or whatever it is, drains? And the second is, whilst we are making profit, it is being eroded by Taharoa Domain's losses. And the item I see, which is very, very high amount, is either the internal charges or the management fee. So it will be good to have a breakup of how come the 700,000 are ending up with almost nothing when we look at those charges. The last one, I may add in this, it's good to see the reserve management plan. But if I look at it, the items from 2016 are still staggering. Number one item, no Tane, says that there is no cultural assessment required. So why we are even showing it? If it's not required, take it off. And if you go on and on, there are other environment issues. There is a doc science group. They are not having the money. There are heaps of items under reserve management plan which are not being looked after. I think that's a worry. Thank you.
No, that's not a question.
That's the question.
No, what is the question?
The question,
What's the question?
okay. The question on
Just like-
cultural
Oh, it's
impact
wrong again.
assessment is, it is going on. You say it's progressing. I would say it's digressing, because for last 9 years, nothing has happened.
That's
What's the
still
issue?
not a question.
That's not a question.
He said it was his piece. Carry
Sorry?
on.
Chair, I have asked 4 questions.
Councillor Williamson.
I've
Please,
asked 4 questions. The
I
first
can do without
question
your
is,
help. Thank you.
The first
Ashley,
question-
can you just ask a question that the staff member can answer, please?
the first question, coming back to my thing, is why the repairs and maintenance bill is increasing to such an extent? That's
Thank
the
you.
first question. Thank you.
I can answer the 3 questions, I suspect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with regards to the first question, obviously the campground, it operates all year round. And so it does get natural wear and tear. We are trying to stay ahead of maintenance to ensure that the campground is a safe and enjoyable space for people to come and stay at. And so if we don't continuously put money in and reinvest it into the campground facilities, then they will most definitely degrade over time. And at the moment, what we are doing is putting additional funds in to ensure that that infrastructure is such that it will be able to be sustainable going forward. So I hope that that answers your first question. I
Well,
think
well,
your second.
Sorry, just one thing on that. The showers, half of them are still not working when I went last. They were
Yes,
closed.
so we have a plan in place to upgrade those showers.
Okay.
One of the things that we are needing to do is to try and reduce the amount of cash that flows through the campground. So at the moment, people pay for a metered amount of time to use the showers. We are investigating at the moment technology to ensure that it's only campground people that can use those showers, and at the same time that they can do that in a cashless way. So we're very much trying to reduce the amount of cash handling that takes place at the camp. With regards to, I think you made a comment about the Taharoa financial statement that I put in there ending the 31st of May 2025 with regards to management services. And I did just make a comment about that when I gave you an overview. There has been a significant increase in management services in 2025, which reflects the strategic investment in iwi partnerships and public engagement. This was a significant increase from prior years. It was 23,000 in 2024 due to local iwi ambassador services who provide a vital educational role. They also help us on Crate Day, and I think that there is another time when we have a big influx of visitors to Taharoa Domain. They also provide security for us.
Thank you.
So that's why that's increased. And I think you made a comment also, although I wasn't quite sure what the question was, but if I turn it into a question, if I look at the action plan that I've included which is
Yeah.
on page 14 of the report. I think your comment was, why are there so many things? And perhaps they relate to 2016 and we're not clearing them off in a timely fashion. I think that this is the record, is my understanding, of actions that have been raised. Like I said, the reserve management plan is intended to be a living document. And as such, we come back and review the actions that have been raised because they provide the direction for the Taharoa domain team. And so we do come back and we review those and make sure that they are working as intended. And so then they are a note for us to go back and do that. And that's why there is a list of things with varying colours that are associated with it. If for some reason that the things that we're doing are not driving the results, then we will change that colour code on it. And it would go from perhaps being a green into a yellow amber colour to a red.
So, no, thank you for that, Glenys. I was just worried about number one item, which is collaboration or cultural, and it is red. That's why I raised it, how long it has been red. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I think we can move on to the next question, which was Rick, then Rachel.
Thank you, sir. My question would be to the Kaikoura District Council, the meeting that iwi attended on the July the 9th was an operational meeting. When will the council set up a governance committee to report on those findings?
Okay, that's a little, well, I'll invite Glenys to respond to that. It's sort of a rhetorical question in a way.
Yes, I'm not 100% sure you're asking me to comment on.
Well, we are here as governance. We are not here as operational. The iwi. I think Pere made that point before.
But you attended the operational meeting. Yep. And so you will have now, I didn't write the minutes to that. That has come out through NRC. And presumably you've received copies of that meeting because you were in attendance to the meeting.
Yeah, but
They weren't attending as representatives of the Taharoa Domain Governance Committee.
They're attending in their own rights, iwi representatives. But then when do we ever get how come we don't get an attachment in our agenda pack of the minutes of each operation, Sui, so
that would be quite useful.
Because we just get the report from you, but the report's not really delve into to the outcomes and what we're trying to achieve.
So the minutes that are produced by NRC came out after I had written this report.
Can we get them in the next one, maybe?
Is there some, or even to circulate them as they arise?
I can do that. Is that that's not been done in the past?
It's just such a mismatch. It's creating, it's compounding issues that we're
usually meet so infrequently. So
misalignment between what's happening on the ground and what we're deciding around this table. So yeah, take your point now.
I've received those minutes, so I'll make sure that they're circulated through Kelly.
And might I add that the main things that we are concerned about as iwi are the gold plan, closing of the lakes at Labour Weekend. It's going to come at 100 miles an hour. And also DLG, trying to find a solution for that.
okay, Rachel, your question.
Thank you. Thanks for your report, Glenys. I just wondered, do you have an update on where KDC are at with the Pine shower and toilet block project that's currently happening? I just wondered if anyone could update us on where that's at currently.
Yes, I can. I'm just going to see if my colleague Nick would like to. No, that's fine. I'll do that. So we are just in the process with the team have been out and done some exploratory looking at where will be the best place for the wastewater field. They've looked at the existing piping. They've identified that it's in quite poor condition in several locations. So it's really imminent that we continue on with this process. My understanding is that there has been a communication with iwi with regarding a cultural assessment, and that's on its way. So we've had a number of conversations with iwi. And I think the final destination for the wastewater reticulation field is about to be finalised. And then my expectation is that that project will be, they'll again review the finances, and then that project will be kicking off.
Okay, thank you for that.
Okay. I have a couple of questions relating to the financial side of things. You mentioned that there were 14 events held at the Kaiwi Lakes Cultural and Environmental Education Facility.
That's right.
People pay a fee for that?
They do, as set out in our fees and charges each year, although there is some discretion with that. So local schools that use the cultural centre, there is some, Mary is the lady that organises that for us.
Where does the money for that go?
Presumably it goes back into, actually, I don't know.
It's part of the booking, it sits in the income from bookings.
From the campground?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because see, I would like to see, and I guess this is more in the realm of a statement, but just to indicate where I'm heading to, and as I've got a couple other questions, is if the whole entity of the Taharoa domain, including the camping ground, was regarded as one cost centre, then we'd have a clearer understanding whether it's actually producing a net benefit to the rest of the district, or it actually is requiring extra rates to top it up. Because the way I read it at present, while we can look at a really impressive surplus produced by the camping ground, that is all eaten up in terms of value terms by how much it costs to keep the rest of the domain costs met. Because I understand that the general narrative is that the surplus from the camping ground goes to fill the general rate coffers, which is of district-wide benefit, but then the shortfall of about 400-something thousand, whatever, from the Taharoa domain is also taken from the rates, general rates. So,
and then on top of that, I don't think that the wages of a lot of the staff that work out there over summer is being captured, because
well, there is an overhead element to it, but yeah, but I would like to see that what the whole of the, you know, putting it, there is a line around the whole thing.
Breakdown.
And see, like, it's useful to have it separated out to what the camping ground is. So I'll put it into a question, would it be, and this is obviously looking ahead to the future, would it be possible for us to look at it more in that way? I don't know what the implications are for the council's accounting system, but just so we can say, like, it is on its own. Like, you can't compare it directly, say, with the Mangawhai camping ground, which is leased out, and there is no sort of hinterland which sort of balances it. It's just a separate entity on itself that has inputs and outputs, and the council gets money from it. Whereas this, it's, to me, it's a fiction that the council gets a benefit from operating this camping ground as things stand. And it might mean, well, to make this thing balance, maybe we need to put the fees up or something like that, to have that sort of discussion that gives us a basis for looking at it. Because people go, this is more and more like a statement, isn't it? People go for the total experience, not necessarily just to dip their feet in the water. So, yeah, so that's, if you could find out, though, where that money from the education centre goes, as it may well be, as Peter says, it just...
it's honestly
Yes, it is. It's a very small amount.
Yeah, okay.
Could comment then to your question.
Yes.
Through the chair. We are looking at the moment at the way that the campground and the Taharoa domain are structured. I agree with you that it is very difficult to be able to see in very fine precision about where money it goes and doesn't go. It's quite challenging to kind of to pull all of those threads apart and to get some great clarity. However, that is something that we're doing at the moment internally, is making sure that both the domain and the campground can run sustainably going forward. So I hope in the coming months to present, another view so that you can, so that you can get some more insight.
Well, I think the numbers are all there. I don't need to see any greater detail, but it's just if even was a third spreadsheet, which in effect combined the two, so or just the bottom lines together, so that we could see whether the final figure is black or red. I guess is the thing. Observation I'd like you to respond to is just regarding management services. And you did provide an explanation as to why it's increased for the campground, but it seems almost exactly the same amount, but a decrease at the one or the other. So decreased at the campground, but it's increased at the Taharoa domain by a similar amount. And I wonder, is that just a coincidence?
That was the information that I've been provided by our financial team. So I will go back and try and get some more clarity for you.
Okay.
How information is put into various cost codes. And I think that's possibly where the confusion is coming from.
Okay, because and I guess I should make a note to self and to fellow members, if we have questions of any detail, be very good to circulate those two in advance to staff members so they have the opportunity to answer. It's something that I frequently remind my colleagues on occasion. Okay, well, that was my questions. Thank you. So
I have a question, but did you have any questions?
Yeah, my question is simply how come we are no longer receiving, might be through terms of reference, the accounting that actually used to cover all of aforementioned things within the accounting system. And we used to be able to peruse it. And of course, you could see in the accounting statements that where things had gone. And it was very, very thicker and upfront way of distributing whatever revenue, whatever costs there were, and bringing it through. So I just wondered why that this governance committee, because straight away we're asking questions. Everyone's asking questions. What's happened to this? What's happened to that?
okay, that's
And if we know that operations is operations, they're given the okay to extend a certain amount of money through the budgets, right? So we used to get the budget accounts all the time.
okay. Well, that's before my time, probably before time limit.
And it was very, very, very nice to get because you could actually see where everything was going. So,
Is that something that you might look into to see?
Well, they do superimpose it, some of it into the into our reports. They do some of it.
The question is, can we provide more informational, more financial information with our reports? I will certainly go back and ask for that information.
I think the popular word these days is granular. Okay, thank you. So that I think is the end of our question time. Or did you have one final question?
I mean, and just going back to when Hayley had this job, and so I'm 3 years down the track now, and I've been waiting patiently for us to have to embark on a review of the Taharoa domain plan, because it'll become overdue next year.
Oh, the reserve management plan.
Sorry, the reserve management plan. And there's a lot of things that have been ticked off already that are no longer relevant. There's so many things that are so critical and relevant that aren't included in that. I hear what you're saying around, if we can add small things in and it's fine, but if we want to add big things in, then we need to go to consultation. I think we need to go to consultation because we're always front page of the paper every time we make a huge decision. We never ever know what the community really genuinely thinks. I think that before the end of our term, I think it's important for us to have and together with the operations committee, a planning day to really throw in what we want to remain in that plan, what we want to change, and actually prioritize what's important, what's like the nice to haves, and then its own separate cost centre, so that we're looking at these and it's looking, oh wow, 293,000 in net profit to year to date. But I know that there's many of our staff that go and help out there, and we're not actually capturing that massive resource that is going into the management and everything else within the lakes. And it might just be that it actually is making a loss. But if it is actually making a profit, then a principle within that plan should be that everything derived from the lakes goes back to the lakes, whether it be things that it needs, or if it doesn't need anything, then we do things for our ratepayers out there. You know, we hold open days or whatever, because this is, in my mind, the only profit generating asset that we have. Anyway, that's all I...
Okay, so I'd translate that as, is it possible we could schedule a planning session regarding the reserve management plan? My own perspective on that is it might be more productive if that's left till the new term of council, because I could predict the result of the outcome being similar to what not being similar to what we have.
But wouldn't it be great to get it to a point where it goes out for consultation and then the incoming councillors actually have a document that's been consulted on by the community that they can then adapt from there? We would actually leave something in their hands, because they're not going to, we haven't looked at this for 3 years. They're not.
Could I discuss it with you after the meeting?
Okay, sorry.
There's an aspect you may not be thinking of there.
Okay.
Yep. So it's now, if you'd like to step down, Glynis, and that's a signal that we won't be asking any more questions.
Yeah.
We're going to make our statements on the...
Haven't had a move and seconder yet.
Oh, I thought we had. Oh, sorry. That's a bit remiss. So can we have a mover for the operations report?
I'll move it.
Okay, thank you, Peter. That's what I've written down, actually. And a seconder. Seconder from Rick. Thank you. Good on you, Rick. Very good. So that means that, Peter, if there is anything else you would like to say?
Oh, I've said my...
Okay, thank you. And
Mr. Chair, just the last item we're talking about there, the review done every 10 years. The last time it was done, iwi was consulted up here for about 3 days, and it was done by the commissioners. And it took quite a while to do.
Yep.
Keep that in mind, please.
I think we would probably pull in some to actually run the days.
Independent facilitators.
Yeah, as independent facilitators. And we're just contributing to the...
Right. So I think we've had the movers and seconders statements. Does anyone else want to speak to the motion? Ash?
Yeah, all I want to say here is, I mean, it's good to see the operation doing well, but as the chair has pointed out, as I also pointed out, we need to have a clear picture of whether it's making money. I actually spent the night in Mangawhai campground last, and every time I go there, I'm so much impressed with a revenue generating entity. With the Kaiwi Lake, we are always in doubt. What are we doing? Where are we heading? So I think we need some clarity on that. That's all I would like to say. Thank you, Chair.
Really good. Anyone else wish to speak? Or my contribution? Oh, sorry, Rachel. Sorry, I missed you there. Carry on.
Thank you. Yeah, look, I'd just like to thank the staff for their reporting. And I'd also like to back up the points that Pera made regarding receiving the minutes from the operational hui. I think, you know, there is, from my point of view, a bit of a disconnect with what NRC are doing, KDC, and I think because we're the governing body, I think it would just be good to get a record of those minutes so we know what's being put forward at those meetings and how that's progressing. because it all relates to decisions that have been made by council. So I think we should have a record of that. It's really important for us to have that understanding. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Rachel. Yeah, well, if I could just put a gloss on that slightly, that I think it'd be beneficial if those minutes were circulated to committee members as soon as they become available, but also included within the formal agenda of the next available Taharoa Domain Committee meeting as well, so that if there is any comment to be made, it can be formally recorded. Just a process thing. My only other statement I wish to make is to record my disappointment that the community stakeholders weren't given more status in this operational group being hosted by the regional council, so that options for fixing the problem can be expedited, rather than just say, well, they were a guest speaker, then indicating then that thank you for your time, then you can go now. I think they should be having a seat at the table. So that's all I have to say about that. So we've had our statements, so I'll put the motion to the vote that the Taharoa Main Governance Committee notes the Taharoa Main Governance Operations Report, July 2025. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Okay, now that means that brings us to the end of our agenda. I have one question to ask Kelly. Are we scheduled to have any more meetings of this committee
No,
before the end of the term?
no.
So this constitutes the last official meeting unless we have any extraordinary meetings of this committee. So I guess it falls to me to make a few concluding statements, one of which is to thank the staff and my fellow committee members for their efforts and endeavours. I have to say that I think it's been something of a travesty how this whole thing has been set up, where the actual structure of this committee does not reflect the sentiments in the reserve management plan in terms of co-governance. And certainly, should I be re-elected to council, I will make it clear to whoever the mayor is that I'm not available to be a member of the Taharoa Main Domain Governance Committee. I would not want to, just be part of what has transpired over this last term. So I'd just like to make that clear. And so just to round things off, I would like to call upon Sunny if you would give us a karakia for closure.
E te atoa nei te otingo tēnei hui hunga. Nā ki te hoki tētahi tangata ko toi moe nei tēnei apa. I tēnei wā nei. Mā te atua e manaki e te aki a koutou katoa. Nai nei, haere tonu haere. Nā rira. E te atua. O tēnei te whakamoimiti, whakawhetai ai, nei kia koe. Amen.
Amen.
About that.
Thank you.
So the election is September, is it?